السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ازيكم عاملين ايه؟ يا رب تكونوا بخير. انا مستر عمرو وان شاء الله هنكمل the fourth lesson on unit 2 in the title of multiplying and dividing algebraic terms. So let me remind you much more about the monomial. خلينا افكركم اكتر عن المونوميال. Monomials are a long strings of terms that have numbers and also have exponent and variable. يعني احنا لو عندنا مثلا على سبيل المثال هنا 3 x power 2y ده بنسميه monomial اللي هي which consists of just one term اللي بيتكون من one term. 3 هنا يا جماعة ده اسمه coefficient. 3 هنا أو numbers اللي هو which is besides the variable is called coefficient. الرقم ده بنسميه coefficient. x power 2y ده بنسميه ال variable something that I don't know حاجة أنا مش عارفها so it's called variable. ده بنسميه variable. والpower 2 الصغيرة اللي فوق دي أو ال 2 دي بنسميها exponent or بنسميها power or indices. تمام. طيب let's go a little bit further about this. خلينا نروح لحاجة أبعد من كده ونشوف حاجة مثلا على سبيل المثال المفروض هنعمل إيه في حالة multiplying. So if I were to multiply 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 and a times a times a times a. So how many times that we have 6 right over here? So there is a few ways I could do right over here to express about this point. يعني في أكتر من طريقة عشان أعبر عن الموضوع ده. يعني إحنا عندنا 6 هنا repeated 4 times فبنقول إن 6 raised to the power 4. يعني 6 دي مرفوعة للpower 4 because as you know that it's repeated 4 times. وال a نفس القصة بيبقى a to the power 4. يعني معنى كده إن ال 6 اتكررت 4 times and a as well repeated 4 times. So instead of writing a 4 times I could write it as a raised to the power 4 or يعني نكتبها a مرفوعة للpower 4. طيب خلينا نروح كده ونشوف ونبدأ ونشوف ايه احنا المفروض نعمل ايه لما يكون عندنا multiplying algebraic terms monomial times monomial. If we have here something like negative 2xy times negative 3x. So right over there we have negative 2xy multiplied by negative 3x. يعني هنا يا جماعة عندنا negative 2 times xy negative 2xy times negative 3x because we have here x and y. يعني احنا عندنا هنا x and y and we shouldn't change anything. يعني احنا المفروض مش هنعمل اي حاجة لان اصلا الفكرة كلها اصلا بتدور حوالين how many x that we have. احنا عندنا هنا كام x موجودة وعندنا هنا كام y موجودة. I'm trying to count up the number of x that we have and the number of y that we have. طيب هتقولي طب وبالنسبة للcoefficient يا مستر كل اللي عليا ان انا بعمل coefficient اللي هنا multiplying to the next coefficient. And as you know that negative times negative you have to change it to be positive. طبعا negative بنكنسل each other out لما بتلاقي negative هنا و negative هنا so it's going to be 6. طيب عندنا هنا x and x. المفروض ان الرول بتاعتك if you have double x if you have many times x so you have to add the exponent. حضرتك مفروض ان انت بتعمل adding the exponent. خلي بالك ان الاكسبوننت هنا 1 but we don't write it بس احنا ما بنكتبوش so it will be x raised to the power 2. يعني انا لما جيت سألتك how many x that we have في كام x احنا عندنا double x فبالتالي هتبقى x to the power 2 but we don't have any just we have just one y. احنا عندنا one y so you have to bring it down so it will be 6x power 2 y. Let me give you a couple more example. If we get here something like negative 3 a power 2p multiply by 4a power 3 p power 4. المفروض ان انت هتتبع نفس procedures that I have told you about it. What I want to do right over here I'm trying to multiply negative 3 times 4 it's going to be negative 12. اول حاجة هعملها ان انا هعمل multiplying the coefficient multiplying it together to get negative 12. يعني انا هعمل multiply the coefficient and as you know that the coefficients are the number so I'm gonna multiply negative 3 times 4 you will get negative 12. يعني أنا أول حاجة بعملها إن أنا بعمل times the coefficient. The next step I'm gonna multiply a power 2 multiply a power 3. As I have told you that you have to add up the exponent together, so it will be 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. ولو حضرتك عارف الناتج على طول اوكي ممكن تكتبه بدل ما تعمل 2 plus 3، بس انا بشرح لك بس مش اكتر. What about b? We have here b raised to the power 1، واحنا عارفين ان power 1 ما بيتكتبش، فبالتالي هتبقى عبارة عن 1 plus 5، so you ended up with negative 12 a power 5 b power 6. بس كده يا مستر؟ بس كده بمنتهى البساطة والوضوح، لان هي اصلا سهلة جدا. طيب what if we have another example like this? If we have here 2a multiplied by 3b. So let me remind you that we have here coefficient times coefficient and variable times variable, but unfortunately the variable is totally different from each other, so I'll not be able to do anything because it's variable, so something that I don't know. So يعني دي ارقام انا مش عارفها، لكن الحاجه اللي انا اقدر اعملها ان انا اعمل الcoefficient times the coefficient. 2 times 3 it will be 6. What about the variables? We have here a and p represent variable, I mean number that we can figure out what they are, so you have to leave it as a b. طالما حاجة أنا مش عارف، يعني أنا عندي ال A اتكررت just one time and B اتكررت just one time, so you have to bring these variables together to be A, B. So let me give you a couple more examples. If you have another thing like 3a power 2 times negative 5 maybe bc. نفس القصة هي نفس الرولز اللي احنا هنتبعها. coefficient times coefficient 3 times the negative 5 it will be negative 15. طيب يا مستر a power 2 but we don't have a in the second term، مش عندنا أصلا a في second term, so you have to bring it down. مفيش حاجة لأن احنا عندنا a power 2 بس مكررة just one time, so you have to write it down. عندناش غير b واحدة برضه هتتكتب تاني، وعندنا c واحدة برضه هتتكتب تاني, so it will be negative 15 a power 2 bc. طيب خلينا نروح لحاجة تانية. if we have another thing like 5 a power 3 b multiply 3 ab. So 5 times 3, I'm going to multiply both of these coefficients together, so it will be 15. What about a power 3 and a? So you will get a raised to the power 4, because if you try to break it down, يعني انت لو حاولت ان انت تعملها factorization, you will find a power 3 a times a. What about the next? a, يعني احنا عارفين ان هنا ال a power 3 just a repeated 3 times. What about a? ودي هتبقى 4 times, so it will be a raised to the fourth power. Okay, what about b? How many b's that we have right over there? We have double b, I mean b raised to the power 2. بمنتهى البساطة والوضوح، سهلة جدا جدا وما فيهاش أي مشكلة خالص. So you ended up with 15a to the power 4, b to the power 2. What if you have another example? Like 3/4 a power 2 multiply 4/3 a. So let me remind you, 3/4 and 4/3 multiplicative inverse, so you have to cancel each other out. I mean something that you will get you 1. If you find the numerator and denominator, both of these number are repeated. I mean we got here 4 up and 4 down, so you have to cancel each other out. 3 up and 3 down, so you have to cancel each other out, so you ended up with just 1. So we can consider 3/4 as multiplicative inverse of 4/3. What about a power 2 and a? So you have to add up these exponent together. The first one, it will raised to the power 2, and second one raised to the power 1, so you will end up with a to the power 3. بس كده يا مستر؟ بس كده بمنتهى البساطة، لأن هي سهلة جدا جدا، ما فيهاش فيها أي تريكات ولا أي حاجة. So خلينا نروح لإكزامبل تاني. If we got here 2/5 x power 2 multiply negative 15 x power 3. So right over there we have 2/5. Number one, you have to figure out fraction times whole number. I mean يعني احنا اول حاجه هنعملها ان احنا هنعمل multiplying الفراكشن اللي موجوده times the whole number, so it will be 2/5 times the -15, and you have to make it simple. I mean we get right over there 15 divided by 5, so it will be 3. I'm gonna cancel each other out and write over there 3, and you have to remember that -3 times 2 is going to be -6. So right over there we have x raised to the power 2 and x raised to the power 3, so you have to add up the exponent, so it will be x to the power 5. And by the way, you don't have to multiply the exponent. خلي بالكم يا جماعه في common mistake الطلبه بتقع فيها ان هم بيحاولوا يعملوا times الاكسبوننت. لا، انا مش بعمل times الاكسبوننت، انا بعمل adding للاكسبوننت، انا بعمل adding up للاكسبوننت. So خلينا نروح لحاجه تانية. If we get here another thing like -2 x bar 2y multiply by 3xy power 2. What I want to do right over there, I'm trying to multiply -2 times 3, it will be -6. What about this? It will be x to the power 2, or x raised to the power 2 and x raised to the power 1, so you have to add up these exponents together, so you will get to x raised to the power 3. What about the next? We have here y, and y power 2, it will be y to the power 3. كده يبقى احنا خلصنا المالتبلاينج، والمالتبلاينج سهل جدا ما فيهوش حاجه لان العمليه اصلا سهله. What if we have here dividing? So let's move to another thing. I mean we get here dividing algebraic expression. So if you try to divide, so number one, you have to divide the coefficient to get together by using the sign rule. I mean if you try to divide -3 divided by -3, so you have to cancel each other out. If you have to cancel negative with negative, and 3 divided by 3 you will get the quotient, it will be 1. يعني الموضوع سهل جدا. ان انت اول حاجه بتهتم او بتعمل dividing the coefficient together, and then you have to move to بعد كده بتبدأ تتحرك للvariable. And let me remind you, if we get here a raised to the power 3 right over there, and we get here a. في حالة ان احنا عندنا ده نوع من انواع dividing، وفي حالة dividing so you have to subtract the exponent. يعني حضرتك في حالة dividing انت حضرتك بتعمل subtraction للexponent, so it will be a to the power 2. What if we have another thing? I mean we have here a power 4b over a power 3. لو أخدت بال حضرتك في النيوميريتور we have a power 4b, but in the denominator, I mean in the number down, we get just a raised to the power 3, but we don't have b. يا مستر الحق، ده احنا عندنا هنا في b في النيوميريتور بس ما عندناش b. طب ايه المشكلة؟ طيب هنعمل ايه يا مستر في الحالة دي؟ هنعمل subtraction للexponent, so it will be a to the power 1. And let me remind you, if the exponent is going to be 1, so you don't have to write it. لما الاكسبوننت بيكون 1 ما بنكتبوش، وهنعمل bring down للبي وخلصت كده. خلصت كده. طيب خلينا ناخد another example to understand it very well. So what if we have another thing? خلينا نعملها أو ناخد example a little bit tricky. We get here 28 a to the power 4 b to the power 6 right over 7 a to the power 3 b to the power 5. What I'm gonna do right over there, I'm gonna try to break this up into things that we can simplify together. يعني أنا اللي هحاول أعمله دلوقتي إن أنا I'm trying to break it، يعني هحاول إن أنا يعني أفصلهم كده، تمام. So I'm gonna try to write everything alone. So I'm gonna start with 28 over 7. This will be the first. يعني أنا هاخد 28 over 7 لوحدها times a raised to the power 4 over a raised to the power 3 times b raised to the power 6 over b raised to the power 5. So I'm writing it as a product of 3 terms instead of being just one term right over there too. I think it's going to be a little bit easier. يعني انا اعتقد ان انا بسهلها ان انا لما بحاول اعمل كده، بس انت يعني مش هتعمل كده، انا بحاول اشرح لك بس عشان اوضح لك ان هي العمليه بتكون اسهل لما بنحاول نفصلهم. So right over there we have 28 divided by 7, it's going to be 4. What if we have a raised to the power 4 and a raised to the power 3? So you have to subtract the exponent, so you will get a to the power 1. B to the power 6 and b to the power 5, so you have to subtract, it will be b to the power 1, so you ended up with 4ab. يعني الموضوع سهل جدا، ما فيهوش اي مشكله خالص ان احنا عملنا او حاولنا ان احنا نطبق البريكين، فبالتالي وصلنا اللي احنا وصلنا له ده اللي هو 4ab. So what if we have 12 a power 3b divide by another thing like negative 4 a to the power 2b. طيب ركزوا كده معايا. It will be 12 divided by negative 4. One of these terms contain negative, so you have to write over there negative. لما يكون واحد فيهم يا جماعة فيه negative, so you have to write over there or you have to write down negative، لأن واحد فيهم negative فبالتالي الquotient في الآخر أو ناتج القسمة يعني هيطلع في الآخر negative. 12 divided by 4 يا مستر it will be 3. طب a to the third power and a to the second power, so you have to subtract these from each other, so it will be a to the power 1. What if we have b and b, so you have to cancel each other out. لما بيكون عندك b و b اللي هي لما مفروض اصلها ان انت بتعمل لهم subtraction اللي هي تبقى عبارة عن b to the power 0 واي حاجة to the power 0 اللي هي تبقى 1، فاحنا بنكنسلهم اصلا خالص وما بنكتبهمش. خلينا نروح لحاجة تانية. Another example. If we get here 21x divided by negative 3. طيب فين يا مستر الحروف اللي موجودة؟ لا هنا ما عندناش variable، عندنا بس في الأول واحد فيهم negative, so it will be negative 21 divided by 3, it will be 7 and you have to bring down x. خلينا نروح the last example that we have negative 15 x power 2 y power 3 divided by 5 x y power 2. طبعا أول حاجة بنعمل coefficient divided coefficient, so it will be negative 15 divided by 5, so it will be negative 3. What if we have here x power 2 divided by x, so طبعا المفروض حضرتك هتعمل subtraction للpower، ف it will be x to the power 1 اللي هي هتبقى x لما بيكون الباور 1 ما بيكتبش y to the power 3 and y to the power 3 و y to the power 2 هنعمل لهم subtraction، it will be y. وكده يعتبر خلصنا. We have finished our session today and see you the next time inshallah. Bye bye.